The Zephyrian interrogation chamber hummed with the soft blue glow of neural scanners, their crystalline surfaces reflecting the pale light off Commander Kethvar's chitinous features. Across from him, suspended in an energy field that crackled with each breath, hung the human prisoner. Captain Sarah Chen had been captured 3 cycles ago during the skirmish at the Proxima station. Her uniform was torn. Dried blood matted her dark hair, but her eyes, those strange, predatory human eyes, remained defiant. The Zephyrians had broken countless species with their advanced interrogation techniques, but this small biped continued to resist. "Your fleet movements, human," Kethvar clicked, his translator converting the sounds into something resembling speech. "Tell us of your military strategies." Sarah's lips curved into what humans called a smile, though it held no warmth. "Which ones? We've got about 10,000 years' worth." The Zephyrian's head tilted, confusion rippling through his neural tendrils. His species had achieved spaceflight through peaceful cooperation, their conflicts resolved through mental linking and shared consciousness. Violence was an abstract concept they barely understood. 10,000. Kethvar's mandibles clicked, uncertainly. "Your species has been spacefaring for merely 2 centuries. Not space war," Sarah said, her voice growing distant. "War. Just war. Explain this war." The question hung in the sterile air like a death sentence, though Kethvar couldn't know it yet. Sarah's smile widened, and for the first time since her capture she seemed almost grateful. "You really want to know?" The neural scanners detected elevated brain activity as Sarah's memories began to flow. The Zephyrians had expected tactical, data, fleet positions, weapon specifications. Instead, they got something far worse. "War," Sarah began, her voice taking on the cadence of a teacher addressing eager students, "is when my species decides that death is preferable to coexistence." Images flooded her mind, picked up by the scanners and projected onto the chamber's walls. The Zephyrians present, Kethvar and his 3 technicians, watched in growing horror as humanity's history unfolded before them. They saw Bronze Age humans smashing each other with clubs and stones. They witnessed Roman legions marching in, perfect formation, their discipline turning slaughter into art, medieval knights in steel armor, their codes of chivalry barely masking the joy they took in combat. "We fought with sticks and stones," Sarah continued, her voice growing stronger as she watched her captors' distress. Then bronze, then iron, then steel. The images shifted. Cannons roared across European battlefields. Muskets cracked in neat lines. The Industrial Revolution transformed war into a machine, feeding soldiers into meat grinders like Verdun and the Somme. "We learned to kill from farther away," Sarah explained, as the Zephyrians watched millions die in trenches filled with poison gas. "But that wasn't enough. So we learned to kill more efficiently." World War II materialized on the screens. Tanks rolling across continents, bombers darkening skies, cities burning. And then, the moment that made even Kethvar step back from the neural interface, the atomic bombs falling on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. "We split the atom," Sarah whispered, "and our first thought wasn't energy or space travel. It was, how can we use this to kill our enemies?" The technicians were backing, away from their stations, their neural tendrils quivering with shock. But Sarah wasn't finished. "The beautiful thing about human war," she continued, "is that we never stopped innovating. Chemical weapons, biological weapons, nuclear weapons capable of ending all life on our planet." The images showed the Cold War, submarines prowling beneath, ice caps, missiles in underground silos, enough nuclear weapons to destroy Earth a dozen times over. "We created weapons that could kill everything," Sarah said, "and then we made more of them, because one of us might miss." Kethvar's translator was struggling with the concepts. His species had no words for genocide, for mutually assured destruction, for the casual efficiency with which humans had learned to erase entire populations. "But the truly scary part," Sarah continued, her eyes fixed on the commander's horrified face, "isn't our weapons. It's how much we love it. New images flickered. Viking berserkers foaming at the mouth, Mongol horsemen sweeping across continents, Confederate and Union soldiers charging into certain death for abstract ideals they'd die before abandoning. We wrote songs about war, poems, stories. We made heroes of our killers and legends of our battles. We teach our children about war the same way you probably teach yours about, I don't know, mathematics. The neural scanners detected something that made the remaining technician flee the chamber entirely. Sarah was enjoying herself. Every human child knows about Thermopylae, where 300 Spartans held off thousands. About D-Day, where we threw ourselves against fortified positions just to establish a foothold. About Vietnam, where we fought in jungles for years over ideology. The images were relentless now, showing the full scope of human conflict. The Crusades, the Napoleonic Wars, the American Civil War, World Wars, the genocides, the revolutions, the endless, creative ways humans had found to kill each other. We fought over land, over resources, over gods, over ideas about gods, over the color of our skin, over lines we drew on maps, over dead kings and unborn children. Cadet was pressing himself against the chamber wall, his exoskeleton clicking in distress. The remaining technician had shut down her neural interface entirely. And then, Sarah said, her voice dropping to barely above a whisper, we went to space. The final images showed humanity's expansion to the stars. But unlike the peaceful exploration the Zephyrians had achieved, this was colonization backed by orbital bombardment platforms, asteroid mining operations that doubled as kinetic weapons, and generation ships armed like fortress worlds. We brought war with us, Sarah said, because that's what we are. That's what we've always been. You think we're just another species that happened to develop spaceflight? But we're not. She leaned forward as far as the energy restraints allowed, her eyes burning with an intensity that made the neural scanners overload. We're war itself, that learned to build starships. The chamber fell silent except for the humming of failing equipment. Cadet stood frozen, his mind struggling to process the implications of what he'd witnessed. His species had encountered hundreds of civilizations. Some were aggressive, some territorial, some even militaristic. But this was something else entirely. Your species, he finally managed to click out. How did you survive each other? Sarah's laugh was like breaking glass. Who says we did? We're still fighting. Right now, while you hold me here, there are humans killing other humans over scraps of territory you couldn't find on a galactic map. There are human children being taught to hate other human children over things that happened before their grandparents were born. She paused, letting that sink in. The only thing that unites humanity, she said finally, is a common enemy. And congratulations, you just made yourselves our common enemy. The neural scanners, overwhelmed by the flood of violent imagery, finally shut down completely. In the sudden darkness, Sarah's voice carried clearly through the chamber. You wanted to know about human military strategy? Here it is. We'll kill anything that threatens us. We'll sacrifice anything to win. And we'll never, ever stop. The energy restraints flickered and died as the chamber's power systems failed. Sarah dropped to the floor, flexing her shoulders as circulation returned to her arms. Oh, and Cadet, she said, picking up a piece of crystalline debris that had fallen from the neural scanner. That question you asked, about how we survived each other? The Zephyrian commander turned toward her voice in the darkness, his night vision adjusting, to show the human standing free in the center of the chamber. We didn't survive each other, Sarah said, testing the sharp edge of the crystal against her thumb. We survived because of each other. Every war made us stronger. Every enemy taught us something new. Every victory showed us what we were capable of. She began walking toward him, the crystal held casually in her right hand. And now we're going to teach you. Outside the chamber, alarms began to sound throughout the Zephyrian vessel. In the distance, energy weapons discharged as human rescue. Teams fought their way through the ship's corridors. But Sarah Chen was no longer thinking about rescue. She was thinking about war. And for the first time since her capture, she was exactly where she wanted to be.